Hello! So, yesterday Disney dropped a lot of content, so I'm here to pick it up. A-star opening, I think. Anyway, yeah, so, yes, also, no, I screwed it up, because it wasn't yesterday, it was a couple of days ago. So I don't know why I said yesterday. Basically, last week, Disney dropped a lot of content, so we're going to basically pick apart all the stuff that I'm interested in, at least. Some stuff they've dropped, which is like National Geographic, which I'm not going to go into because that's not really my jam. Even though National Geographic was an amazing channel that I grew up watching, not to crap on the National Geographic. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to basically do a series of streams. I think 11 streams back to back, of which this is the first one. And we're going to, in fact, actually I can show you a preview. This is all the streams I'm about to do. We're currently doing this one here, which is we're going to look into the announcements that Disney Animation Studio are doing of what they've got coming up. Basically, everything that was announced last week about Disney Animation Studios. So the big thing, which we'll watch first, is they dropped the teaser trailer for Encanto, which is the 60th Disney Animation Studio release, and then they dropped some announcements about some other stuff, which we'll then go into after that. So, once that picture's gone away, let's begin by me dropping some envelopes on the floor, and then let's watch the teaser trailer for Encanto. So, a very, very, very quick teaser trailer, but that's what teaser trailer's about. So it doesn't really tell us much, but did a quick look online, B-roll. So, yeah, like I said, Encanto is basically the 60th Disney Animation Studio. So what we know about it so far is it's been directed by Byron Howard and Jared Bush, who both directed Zootopia, which I enjoyed. I don't think it's one of the Disney films which is going to stick with me, but I enjoyed it. I think it had some good messages in it about prejudice and racism. The world building was good. Could have been a bit more in depth, but no, I overall enjoyed it. So it's set in Colombia, which is something the trailer also establishes because we hear them say Colombia. And, you know, I am bad at geography, so I couldn't tell you anything geographically, culturally interesting about Colombia, but I'm sure there are many interesting things. And it's about a magical family who live in a magical house, which is, you know, a pretty standard premise for a Disney film. It's going to be also co-directed and co-written by someone called Charisse Castro-Smith. I don't know what else they have done. But it's being composed by Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame, which makes this his he's worked on Moana, which, okay, I've not seen Hamilton. I want to see it, but as I enjoy musicals on stage is essentially my thing. I think a lot of what makes musicals so magical for me is immersing myself in it by being in the audience. I don't want to take that away from me by watching Hamilton on Disney Plus and then never having a chance to experience it for the first time on stage. So I also think if you hear the soundtrack before you watch a musical, you a lot of what. Put it this way, if I heard the music for Wicked before I saw Wicked, I don't think Wicked would have stuck with me such a brilliant musical. So I refuse to listen to Hamilton soundtracks or the filmed version of the stage production until I get a chance to see it, which might be a long time because it's not. I don't think it's touring, and going to London to watch a musical is expensive. But if that's a sacrifice I am willing to make. Anyway, this is a tangent. Miranda's worked on Moana, and he also co-starred in Mary Poppins Returns, which I need to see. And then he's apparently also working on the music for the live-action The Little Mermaid, which makes a lot of sense. So this will be, when this releases, I think Little Mermaid's going to release before Encanto, so this will be his 4th collaboration with Disney. That's all we really know. Also, according to this article by Collider, it's going to be his first solo contribution towards a Disney film, because his work on Moana and Little Mermaid are both collabs. So this is, that. Whoops. I'm going to turn off WhatsApp to see what the message is about. Why did you shout my name at me when you're in the comments of my video? Someone, yeah. Thanks, Katie. So yeah, that's essentially all we know about Encanto, because the next film from Disney Animation Studios is the film I can't remember the name of, and I don't think I actually watched the trailer for it yet. I'm not going to do that today. I'll probably missed the part of doing it. The River agrees, I suppose. Okay, cool. So that's that. So that's the only thing we've got in terms of video content about Disney animation. But if I just do some live magic things. So the other thing, which that was announced, is a collaborative effort by Disney Animation Studios and a studio called Kogali. And this is their it's going to be a long form series, so it's not a film. It's a long form series, and it's basically the genre is Afro-futuristic. So it's going to be a series about African history and tradition, but set in a very science fiction futuristic area. And it's a collaboration, like I said, with Kogali, which I'm just trying to find out a bit more detail about now. So I think Kogali is a Ugandan animation company, or at least the animator is Ugandan. So yes, so it's an African company because one of the animators is Ugandan, but the other two Nigerian. And yeah, it's going to take a lot of inspiration from African art, and I know I'm in the way of the screen. That's the whole point. It's going to be a series that essentially it's basically African culture, story told by African storytellers, which is, I think, great. So we don't know really much more about that. We know thematically what it's going to be about, and I think it's great that we're going to see this brought to us in an accessible way via Disney, because usually stuff like this is indie made or as a foreign film, and to the Western audiences it's not immediately accessible. So, and it's going to take on themes about class and class and changing status quo. So so that's something that that's going to go for. Again, it's not going to be released to Disney Plus until 2022, so there isn't much details about it now. This is just this announcement. I think they're just kind of obviously in the planning stages and development stages of it. The artists who are behind it are comic book artists. It's taking a lot of inspiration from African comic book style, which sounds really interesting, because Disney Spider-Verse as an animation project, obviously that was Sony, showed that using comic book styles on screen is a recipe for wild success. So I think this is kind of another way we can look into that. So that's that. The other things we got are 4 series based on films. We have Baymax, we have Zootopia Plus, we have Tiana, Moana. So obviously Baymax is based on Big Hero 6. Zootopia Plus is based on Zootopia, which is probably the most obvious one. Tiana is based on The Princess and the Frog, which is one of the few. I've seen a whole bunch of Disney animation studio films I haven't seen, but I think Princess and the Frog is notably a gap I need to fill at some point. And then Moana, which is obviously based on Moana. It's not unusual for Disney to make series based on films. It's happened loads. It's happened way back for years and years and years. It happens all the time. What is unusual is for the main Disney Animation Studio people to make it. Usually it's delegated to kind of the B team of animators, or so often when you get these projects, they're kind of delegated to another branch or department within Disney. It's unusual for actually the same animation studio, for Disney Animation Studio, to be heading its own TV content. So it's interesting. I was talking on the Film Stock radio show, which you can watch on the Film Stock Facebook page for Newcastle Film Stock, Newcastle University Film Stock. I think it's interesting that we're kind of this is Disney blurring the gap, and we'll talk about this. I'll talk about this a bit more. I'll talk about this a bit more when I talk about the Marvel studio releases, because they're a bit more on the nose about the point I'm trying to make here. But it's interesting. If you're a film critic or a TV critic, trying to separate the two is becoming increasingly impossible, because TV and film have naturally blurred. It's been a progression we've seen for years and years and years. TV and film is going to naturally blur. And I think this is like another. I mean, COVID's kind of accelerated a lot of the process, because a lot of what we'd see as a cinematic experience is now a TV film. So this has kind of blurred the process even more. And Disney have released all these announcements, and Disney, I think, are very much accepting COVID as Disney have kind of took COVID and actually probably come out of it the most, because Disney Plus, out of good timing or something else, Disney basically made COVID into a success for them. Essentially, people being locked down, that being released, all the content that they have on their channel was I think, and I mean, if you watch, I think it's the Warp Zone, they've done a sketch on this, and I think they fantastically explain that point in a more comedic fashion. So this is basically allowed Disney to kind of blur the line between TV and film even more. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the quality of these series and how much they stand to the quality of a film, because obviously it's still going to be a serialized, episodic kind of story, so it's not going to be one long thing. But then, to a degree, how much does that matter? Because a lot of you can take a lot of TV shows and stitch them together, and some of them, not all of them, some of them do work as film. So those are my thoughts on Disney Animation Studio releases. I'm going to end this stream, and I'm going to immediately set up a new stream as what's next on my list. Next, coming up very shortly, will be Harris talking about the Lucasfilm, specifically Star Wars ones, because I won't bother talking about Indiana Jones or Willow. But yeah, so the Star Wars Lucasfilm announcements, and we're going to kick it off by doing a trailer reaction to Andor. So subscribe to our page, or keep refreshing if you don't want to subscribe. And in about a couple of minutes, I'll be back again. See you then. That's the wrong one.